Well, I suppose the biggest part of our action must be the exchange of information about the pedophile individuals and their groups. And since 1992, we've had a permanent working group looking at this, and we've done several analytical studies concerning certain groups.
Do you think that a pedophile register would help?
Well, it's a kind of sensitive issue. I mean, what do you mean by a pedophile register? Any of the convicted pedophiles that we have in our records are in the records anyway, so I don't know that a separate register makes a difference. I think the real issue, and it's the sensitive one, is should you nationally keep pedophile lists, and should these lists be available to organisations where children are involved to be checked before the employers use them for these purposes? And I think that's a political issue that needs to be resolved in many countries.
How do you think can you control a distribution of child pornography regarding the internet, for example?
Very difficult, because it's, as you're aware, the internet is practically uncontrolled. And I think that the only thing you can do really is to create national legislation which prevents it, and then hopefully prosecute the people who are involved in it, because we shouldn't forget that whilst pornographic material in itself may seem to be less serious, it's opening the door to the rest of the activity that follows in terms of pedophilia.
And last question, what would you ask the politicians internationally, like within the EU, to do?
Well, I think they're beginning already to do it, bearing in mind that there are already UN conventions, particularly on the rights of the child. But I think the issue of extradition, extraterritorial possibilities for prosecution for people who are involved in sex tourism, I think it's that sort of thing that needs to become universal as opposed to limited to a certain number of countries.
Great,
Okay.
thank you very much for your time.
I think that sometimes, for example,